In this tutorial, we're going to discuss how to select files for removal using Doppelganger. In previous tutorials, we learned how to search for duplicates. We went through the My Music folder and found all the duplicate audio files on my computer. Then in the follow-up tutorial, we learned how to interpret the search results. We learned about the different areas on this results window. We learned that this is the duplicate groups area and this is the duplicate details area. And so with that foundation, we can move forward. Now, Doppelganger will only remove files that have been selected for removal. There are two ways to select files for removal. You can do it manually, or we can have Doppelganger do it for us using some rules we select. So let's discuss the manual option first. You see in the duplicate details window, the two files in this duplicate group have checkboxes near them. The checkboxes designate which file or files are going to be removed when we press the Remove Files button. So if we want to manually select which files we want to remove, we can go through one by one, each different group of duplicates and manually check mark each one. In this search, there are 74 groups of duplicates, so that would be a little time consuming. So that is not the most efficient way to do this, but it does give you a certain level of control that you may want to use. So that's the manual way to select files, and then again, when you are done with that, you can click the Remove Files button and the files with check marks next to them would be removed. Let's undo those selections and let's discuss the more efficient way. The way that I recommend is that we use selection rules. There are two ways that we can access the selection rules. Notice this drop down here. This is select multiple files. If we click on that, we see 6 different rules that we can select from. This is just a small group of the most common rules that are used. There are many other selection rules. I'm going to show you right now how we can access those. If you want more control over which rules to use, we select the Selection Assistant. And if we look here at the list of available rules, we have many more than the 6 shown on the other windows. So this is all the rules that Doppelganger provides for selecting duplicate files among groups. And there should be a rule in here that covers the scenario you want. And once you would select the rule, then you would press the Select button, and the Doppelganger would go through each of the duplicate groups and select the ones that match your rule. Let's keep it simple right now. We'll go into the Selection Assistant window in greater detail in another tutorial. Right now, let's use the Select Multiple Files drop down. On this window, we have 6 of the most common rules used for selecting files. They're grouped logically. The first 2 are grouped by file date. We choose a rule based on a file date. So select files based on their age. Which files are newer, which files are older. Keep the newer files, remove the older ones, or keep the older files and remove the newer ones. The next 4 all have to do with the location of the file. These deal with keeping all the files that are in a particular folder or removing all the files that are in a particular folder. Keeping all the files that are in a particular drive or removing all the files that are in a drive. The most common one, at least for me, the most common choice I would use is to keep the newest file, the newest version of each file, and delete the older copies. That's generally what I'm doing. I want to keep the new one and get rid of the older ones. And so I would select this rule here, keep the newest duplicate in each group and select the others. Now, when I do that, we get the summary window that comes up and shows us that 74 files have been selected, and that if we follow through with the removal, we will save 661 megabytes. That's a pretty substantial savings. Let's close that window. Now, what Doppelganger has done behind the scenes is it has gone through every group of duplicates and it has placed a check mark near the older version of the file. Remember, we said keep the newest one and mark the oldest one. So let me find a file here that's going to show what happened. Let me see, let's choose this one, When I Think About the Lord. And let me scroll over. Now notice the bottom one is selected for removal, the top one is not. Let's scroll over and look at the dates here. We notice the last modified date of these two files. The date that Doppelganger looks at when comparing which file is newer, which file is older, is the last modified date, not the created date. Okay, so the last date that this file was edited, that's what we use. And so the top file is newer. It was last modified in October of 2010. This lower file was modified in November of 2009. So this is the older of the two, and that's why Doppelganger has selected it for removal. That will be true of every single file in this group. So now it's done. We're ready to remove the files. We would just click the Remove Files button, and all the checkmark files in all of the groups would be removed. We're not going to do that in this tutorial. I want to discuss the removal options. We have some choices about how to remove the files and where to remove them to, and whether to delete them or just move them to other places. We will discuss that in detail in the next tutorial.